Hello, I'm back. We are back here to this beautiful day. This is our second day of our 3D Biomechanics week. And in this class, we're going to see many good stuff. And I have a surprise for you that you will love it. I'm sure you will love it. This is a surprise that we've been for a long time trying to do. And now we had the opportunity to do that, to really do this way. And wait so you can see. This is the second day in which we're going to the practical side of the biomechanics. We did this way because, first of all, I wanted to show to you the wrong way to treat patients class 2 and class 3 cases, and today we start with the right way to do the right thing for class 3 patients. And this is what we are going to do now. Well, this is our second class, as you already know. And in this class, you will learn how to master the best techniques and protocols in a simple and practical way and gain confidence to deliver the best results to your treatments and to be faster in your results with a better refinement. There is a right way to do that. I've been thinking because when I see people telling me and asking me about biomechanics, there's always something, not always, but usually there is something missing. And what is missing is the protocol for understanding the process. People want to know the dynamics without knowing the diagnosis. This is wrong. The right way to do that is by following this path, initiating the process and trying to give to that initial part a thorough attention so you can understand all the details that are present in each case, in each situation. So we are going to do that now. We are going to understand the protocols for treating class 3 and class 2 cases, starting with class 3. I'm going to show to you why. To achieve faster and more efficient results, as we can see in cases like that, we are going to treat patients in 10 months, 1 year, 1 year and something. You know that in the past, we usually treated patients in 4 years, in 5 years. There is something that is there in the past. We don't do that anymore. Unless our patient is not compliant and they come every 10 months, every 1 year. So this is different. I'm saying that when we do this type of treatment, when we engage in this type of protocols, understanding the problem, and then addressing the problem the right way, we treat our cases faster and with better results like this. And you're going to see this in this class. Class 1, by the way, is now available for review. You see? What? We had a problem here. I'm so sorry. Qual é o problema? I'm so sorry, guys. We had a technical problem here. And you know, live classes are like this. We try to do the best way, but sometimes we have technical issues that we can't control. We can't even anticipate. So I'm sorry for that. Coming back, coming back now. What we are going to see today. The class 1 is available now, okay? You can go there. You can go there to the class and see the protocols of the wrong way how to do this type of treatments. Class 2 and class 3 cases in the wrong way because of the wrong biomechanics, and today we're going to solve some problems. Obviously, we can't go to all the problems that we have. We can't go through all the problems that we have in our cases, but I will try to give you some solutions that are very good and fast for your treatments. Okay, so class 1 is now available for a review. If you haven't watched the class 1 yet, I recommend that you go back and watch class 1 after this class. Okay, so go again and review if you have some doubts, and you go again and review, because we're going to have another specific moment to tackle the doubts. We are going to give to you the opportunity to ask me your questions so we can try to solve. There you will learn how to avoid the worst and most common mistakes that are made by orthodontists. It is very important that you watch all the classes of the event to maximize the learning. Don't just do this today. You go back and see again and watch again the class number 1. Remember that today, remember that today at the end of this class, we will have a giveaway. I will do a giveaway for one-on-one mentoring session. So we're going to have the opportunity to meet me live, and we are going to discuss some cases, and this is for those who issued the VIP ticket. So we're going to do that at the end of this class, okay? I need you to do the following. Have something to take notes with, so take note with your laptop, with your whatever you want, a notebook, whatever you want, whether typing or using a notebook or any paper. Pay attention to everything you see here during this class, because when you think you know enough, you're going to see that are more details present in this type of mechanics that can change the way you see orthodontics. Close all tabs and focus completely on the class. Comment here in the chat, please. Hashtag I am 5% to let us know you are with us in this movement. Remember what the movement is, why we are doing this way, what we are trying to show to orthodontists from all over the world is the right way to address biomechanics to each case. And why do we call it the 3D Biomechanics Week? Because I want to show to you that there is a different way, a different approach, basically based on what you see in your diagnosis and treatment planning and what you see during the biomechanics application of the process. And we do that not in a bidimensional way. We do that in a 3-dimensional way. We are doing that today this way, okay? Master the best techniques in this class you see, and protocols in a simple and practical way. And gain confidence by doing that to deliver the best results and faster results in your cases. This is a loop, you know, guys. When we do that, understanding the problem, addressing the right biomechanics, this is a loop, a good cycle. You do that, you gain confidence, you see cases being better treated, you gain confidence again, and you deliver better treatment for your patients. You're going to be seen in your community, amongst your peers, orthodontists like you, as a good orthodontist, and this is a good cycle. But there is no way to do that without knowing biomechanics. And this is what I usually tell my students. Let's dive deeper in this knowledge so you can be free from insecurity in your practice. And this is what we're going to do. Now we go to the class. We're going to the class. I'm very excited about this class because some things happened these days that showed me the real importance of understanding this. The real importance of really closing the gaps that we have in our knowledge in orthodontics. Usually, there are factors that delay and compromise the successful orthodontic outcome in your treatment, and those are the careless diagnosis, the absence of a consistent planning, and of course, when you apply the incorrect, not good biomechanics to that case. And we know that for each case, we must apply the right biomechanics, the proper biomechanics, based on the diagnosis and treatment planning. And this is what we're going to see now. I finished our class on the first day, on Monday, with this problem. We have something that we need to avoid at all costs when we treat a class 3 patient. What is that? We must deal with the vertical the right way. And what I was trying to show to you is usually nowadays we use the wrong biomechanics for that. Why? Because we're forgetting to see our patient in total. We are forgetting that the diagnosis will drive the biomechanics, not the opposite. We don't do the biomechanics and we try to transform and we try to manage what we don't see, because the biomechanics is the master of the process. No, the biomechanics is not the master of the process. The master of the process is the diagnosis. Then, from that point on, you must apply the correct biomechanics. And pay attention. If you understand this now with me, you are not going to be able to unsee that. You're going to be with this in your mind, in your brain, attached to your brain. And this is what we're going to do now. Understand, guys, that we have the three-dimensional way of treating our problems. Sagittal problems, they usually are better addressed when we use the vertical component. This is different from just moving teeth forward or backwards, pushing or pulling, because we want to do the sagittal treatment. The sagittal treatment will be addressed, of course it will, but the vertical will help us doing that. I have this table that comes from McNamara from a long time ago that is related to cephalometrics. And I'm going to show to you how this is completely linked in our daily practice to what we see in our patient's profile, in our patient's occlusion. Look at that. We have here the table of McNamara. This is cephalometric analysis. You already know that, of course you do. And we have the length of the maxilla, the length of the mandible, and also the lower anterior face height. When we have example like this, a class 1 profile with good measurements and compatible numbers, like maxilla is compatible with the mandible, and the lower anterior face height is compatible with the size of the maxilla and the size of the mandible, and it closes the triangle. What if I stick with the numbers, the lengths, the size of maxilla and mandible, and we just change what we can change, the vertical, the lower anterior face height? It's going to change completely the sagittal. You see, the sagittal is a slave to the vertical component. The sagittal will be approached in a way that will help us to do things faster, because we are doing the vertical helping the sagittal. And this is what we're going to do in class 3 patients this way. Let's move on. You see, when I have lower anterior face height decreased, and we have good numbers, good size of maxilla and mandible, even having good size of maxilla and mandible, we still have the protrusion of the chin, the protrusion of the mandible. Why is that? Because the mandible is rotating up and forward. Oh, it seems to be very simple and very clear, but we are not applying that. It seems to be something that we already know for a long time, but we forgot that with the new tools that we have nowadays, like the mini screws, like the buccal shelf, we must apply the correct biomechanics, because this way we can help our patients, and the other way, by not understanding the problem and not applying the correct biomechanics, we are doing the opposite, and I'm going to show to you from now on. And what if we have the same situation, same size of maxilla and mandible, and now we just play with the lower anterior face height, increasing it a little bit? What's going to happen? We are doing the opposite. We're rotating the mandible down and backwards, increasing the facial convexity. And we can also change that in a class 2 patient. Okay? So we have different approaches in class 2 and class 3 patients. And now what we want to do, we must do, is to understand what are the components that we can change and how to change those components. And the right way to do that is just by increasing the lower anterior face height in a patient class 3 with a lower anterior face height decreased. And we must recognize those patients so we can treat them the best way we can, okay? Like this patient, for example. He came to me with this profile. He's a patient, he's a father for one of my patients. And he was like in my office for years, coming with her young daughter and the other daughter after that one. And I always try to tell him, please, let's do something because you have this lower anterior face height decrease and you have a class 3, we can treat you without surgery if we have some variables, some things that we can change, and I can do that for you if I do a thorough diagnosis. And 20 years, he's a father of Carol, one of my first patients, let's say, and for 20-something years he's there with me. And eventually he developed TMJ problems, TMJ issues, and he came to me like in his 50s, okay? And I told him, well, because of the TMJ, because of the TMD that you have developed along these years, because we didn't treat you in the right time, the proper time, now we need to address the case in a more thorough, let's say, or not just what we wanted to do before. We need to add something new now. But look at that. I would treat him before this way. I would have treated him this way without the need of surgery if we started the treatment a long time ago. What I wanted to do is just to rotate his mandible down and backwards. And look at that. Look at his occlusion. Full step class 3, we have, look at the canine position. We have 8 millimeters difference from the canine position to the right position, meaning we need to go distal or mesial in the upper 8 millimeters. We need to correct the sagittal problems with the maxilla or the mandible going this way to uncross the crossbite. 8 millimeters because it's the size of the premolar approximately. If we think about it, just doing the treatment in the lower arch, well, upper arch is compensated, I want to do the treatment in the lower arch. We would need to go distal 8 millimeters. Is that right? No, it is not. It is wrong because there is something that we are missing. It's the lower anterior face height. So what should I have done for him if he came like without TMJ issues? Look at this. Just increasing the lower anterior face height, forcing his chin, his mandible down and backwards, we come to this condition here. And look at his face when we go to this position, increasing the lower anterior face height, rotating his mandible down and backwards. Look at what we have here now before doing something and just manipulating the lower anterior face height. You see the difference? Completely different. I can treat a face like that. I can treat a face like that, increasing the lower anterior face height, decompressing the TMJ. I'm not tackling the TMJ today because this is not our goal, but we can have a different approach for that. Different from just sagittal, I mean. I want sagittal, yes, but I don't really want to approach sagittally the sagittal problem. Do you understand that? I mean, we can do this, we can increase the lower anterior face height. By doing that, we can decrease the need of correcting the sagittal. Like this, look at that. Bonded the lower arch. Now we're using the cantilever for leveling the lower arch. And I know the height that I want. This is the height that I want. And now I created bite razors in posterior segment to treat him. if he didn't have now the TMJ problems, this would be my treatment for him. Like this, just leveling the curve, doing a little bit of IPR in the lower, because by leveling the curve, I need more space, and by needing more space, I'll need to protract, and I don't want that to happen. So I would have treated him just like this, with IPRs in the lower, without surgery. But we needed to do this surgery because of other problems and level the curve. But what I mean is that, let me go back so you can see. Class 3, full step in K9. Just raising the bite, we have almost a class 1. Again, class 3, full step K9. Raising the bite, we have almost a class 2. You see what, do you understand, guys? This is the sagittal being treated without even tackling the sagittal problem. We did just the rotation of the mandible down and backwards. And by rotating the mandible down and backwards, we are correcting the sagittal. This is what we are going to do in almost all cases that we treat with this type of profile. A patient with the rotation of the mandible up and forward, our counterclockwise rotation of the mandible, I can increase when I can do that. I mean, we need to, of course, to run our diagnosis and treatment plan in sequence so we can understand if we can do that or not. But I can assure you, there are several cases that you are going to treat this way, and by treating this way, you're going to treat faster. Okay? Guys, everything all right? All right? Okay. Mauricio, everything all right?
Yeah.
Good. Let's move on. And a patient like this, with the lower anterior face height decreased, can be treated this way. Let's go now deeper in this case so we can understand what's going on. Our patient, she has this concave profile, outer rotation of the mandible, counterclockwise rotation, I mean. So this patient is with this prognatic profile because of that. Having no proper height here, she's rotating the mandible up and forward. Now let's see what we can do for her. This is the tracing of the cephalometric X-ray, and this is what we see in cases like this. Pay attention to the occlusal plane. We can measure the occlusal plane with a reference in the cranial base, or we can measure the occlusal plane by using the palatal plane. And if you use the palatal plane, this is dramatic. Almost reversion of the occlusal plane. What can we do for her? We can increase the occlusal plane steep. We can increase the inclination of the occlusal plane. By doing that, we are going to help our patient by increasing the lower anterior face height, rotating the mandible down and backwards, and showing more incisors, tips during smile, during speech, meaning we are going to gain youthness. We are going to give to her face youthness. You know how ugly can be a patient without showing, a young patient, I mean, without showing incisors during speech, during smile, and this is something that we can change. Imagine rotating this mandible this way. Let's move on so we can understand what we can't do for her. We can't decrease her palatal plane, her occlusal plane. We cannot do that because we have it already decreased, 8.2 degrees of inclination in relation to this, to the cranial base, okay? To the line between sala and nasum, okay? We are doing this so we can understand a very common reference. But we usually use the palatal plane for that, for understanding better this. What we are doing now is avoiding to decrease the lower anterior face height. What do we want to do with a patient like this? What do we need actually to do to increase her beauty, to increase or to enhance volume in the lower anterior face height? We need to increase it, all right? We need to increase it. So let's call the teeth so we can see that better. Look at that. We have this condition with a huge inclination of anterior upper teeth because this is the compensation. Remember, the teeth are compensating for the class 3 condition that she has. And by having this, the occlusal plane also is very flat. And what we can't do, pay attention now, coming back to the condition, to the situation we spoke here in the first day. We spoke about in the first day. We cannot decrease her lower anterior face height. Okay? So, by knowing that, let me ask you something now, guys. By knowing that, what is the worst mechanics for her? You see, it's something that's completely common sense to distalize lower arch in cases like this, because you know this is not a growing patient. You can't treat her with a reverse traction of the maxilla. We know that we cannot do that without surgery. And in our minds, we think, well, the only choice that I have is to distalize the lower arch. But it is wrong. It is wrong. Why is it wrong? Because when we do that, when we try to distalize the lower arch using this type of mechanics, you usually do something like that. We attach the head of the IZC, the buccal shelf, to the arch at this height. Usually do that. Tell me the truth. Is it right or not? So we do that. But by doing that, what do we have? By doing that, let me tell you again, by doing that, you're doing the worst thing to your treatment. Why? Because everything that you need to avoid is what you're doing. You're decreasing the lower anterior face height because by distalizing the lower arch with the line of action of the force at this height, you are rotating the occlusal plane. You're rotating mandibular occlusal plane this way. Distalizing. Now we have a gap. There's no gap really, because every time we have a gap, there's something to occupy the gap. Mandible will rotate up and forward immediately when you have this type of mechanics. And by rotating it up and forward, you are now preventing the extrusion of upper teeth that you need to do. By doing that, you are really decreasing the occlusal plane that you already know that was already decreased. You know that. By doing this mechanics with a good and very beautiful buccal shelf, it's a very good anchorage. Buccal shelf is perfect. I use buccal shelf almost all days in my office. I insert a mini implant, buccal shelf or IZCs, because this is 90% of my mini implants nowadays. Okay, thanks, doc. Is that treatment you solve by mandibular rotation? Is it stable? Molar extrusion in adults? Molar extrusion in adults, ask yourself, what is going wrong when we have lower anterior face height decrease? We have something wrong with the stability of the case itself. It's a rotation of the mandible. If we increase the lower anterior face height by extruding posterior teeth, we do that with a protocol that I'm going to show to you, and we make sure that this protocol is going to be this way so we can have it stable. Sometimes we do that by extrusion, not of the teeth themselves, but the maxilla itself. The maxilla is going down. The same force is going to be applied against the teeth. So is it stable or not? What makes it unstable is a bad protocol. You do the extrusion and you leave it there. You need to wait a longer time so you have periodontal fibers renewal and you also have bone growth. By doing that, you are assuring more stability. More stability. I'm not saying that everything is completely stable. We cannot assure that. We cannot say in any cases that, but using this protocol, you're going to be in the right direction. Doctor, when we put bite blocks to molar, won't we expect intrusion of molars? Do we have intrusion of molars really by rotating the mandible? How much of intrusion we have? And I'm going to show to you in some cases here that by doing that and with time, it stays, okay? What we do is by doing the bite razors, bigger and bigger, consultation by consultation, or every 2 or 3 months, but we do that in a progressive way. We don't do that once. We do usually in a progressive way. That patient that I treated, I showed you that case because that was surgical. Different protocol, okay? Mauricio, can you just erase the first one so I can see the last one? Because I can't see. Please just erase the first questions. Not appearing here. This one also. Delete it. The blocks you made, how many periods it taken? Periods, you mean if I do that at once or like with small increments? Is that what you mean? If that is what you mean, yes, I do in small increments. I'm not doing that at once. I'm going to show to you this protocol here so you can understand better, okay? Let me go through this protocol so you can understand it better. I'll look at the, almost sweating. Go. Let's move on. So this is what you don't want to happen and what you give to the case. You are now increasing the problem. Actually, you are giving to the problem a deeper way to solve this, okay? A more difficult way. Guys, look at this beautiful face. Facial volume and its influence in aging is well known. What's happening with time with profiles like this, with lower anterior face height? We have a progressive aging of this of this face because we have a low volume of the face. We don't want that to happen, and we don't want to accelerate this process at all. This is what we need to avoid. And by doing that type of mechanics, we are giving to the patient prematurely aging because we are decreasing this gold part of the face, this golden part of the face. I mean, the lower anterior face height is something completely palpable. You know, when we see that and when we change that, in cases like this, we see the result. Understanding the result, you see that this is the right way to do. I'm going to show to you again. So again, bringing the teeth back, now we're going to approach the protocol that I use. I will raise the bite this way with bite razors, not just bite razors. I'm going to show to you tomorrow also when I'll give you the hands-on. I will show different approaches for that, okay? Because we have good time for doing that tomorrow. And now I'm doing the cantilever. I'm using the cantilever to extrude anterior teeth, and I don't give time to relapse. I start this day 1. I will show the case. And I will extrude anterior teeth this way, showing more incisors. We are doing that, and now we increase it again. We increase it again. The second round of raising the bite, and we have more space now. By having more space, we still go with the cantilever. Second molar, free to extrude. I don't put second molar here in the leveling because I want it to extrude naturally, and it's going to be very fast. And then we cut the wire. The thin wires, they did their job. Now we go to thicker wires. So at this point, I need to cut the wire at this part of the, between the premolar and the molar. And I will go again with, I will keep the cantilever in position so we can have the slow extrusion of anterior teeth. What we are doing now is the wedge effect, is the scissor effect. in which we increase posterior to rotate the mandible down and backwards. Every place I go, people ask the same thing, and you're probably asking, is that stable? Yes, it is. When we achieve this type of extrusion and we keep it, we are not really going against the nature, we're going in favor of the nature. This size of the upper incised upper lip is shorter. Why? Because there's compression here. We are decompressing all this area. I'm going to show again to you this in diagnosis process that we're going to see during the case, during the explanation of these cases. And then I will go to the other part of it, which is elastics. I'm going to give vertical elastics to fill the gap, to completely fill the gap. And after having contact, after 3 months after having contact, I will grind the bite razor so I can extrude the molar. And the molar is going down now with elastics. And now we have everything in contact. So when people ask me this, probably because they have been taught this way or read it somewhere, I don't know, but why is not stable? Because you have contact, you have bone growth in this part, in the apex of upper teeth roots. We have periodontal ligament fibers renewed at least twice, 3 times. Every 45 days, we have periodontal fibers renewal. So we have everything now, making everything now more stable. And then we extrude the molar, and then look at that, we need to keep the elastics 10 hours a day at least for 3 other months. This is the protocol that I use to increase the lower anterior face height. What do you expect to have here? I expect to rotate the mandible down and backwards, completely the opposite of the previous way to treat. Agreed? I will do that, and then I will extrude upper teeth, upper dentition, the entire upper dentition. And this is what I want. I want to increase, not decrease, the occlusal plane angulation. And this is what we did in this patient. I'm going to show to you now her case so you can recognize what to do in cases like this. Look at that. Class 3 patient, all the measurement, of course, you don't have enough time to go through that completely thoroughly because you don't have enough time to discuss all the details. If I had, like I have in my courses, I will delve into that like deeper and go in each and every detail, understanding what's going on in this case, in that situation, what can I do, and when I do, what's going to change, and what are the bad and good outcomes, probable outcomes when I do this way or that way. In my mind, it's like a chess game. We see all the possibilities and try to block our content, our adversary, our opponent. Our opponent sometimes is the nature. Our opponent sometimes are ourselves by doing the wrong biomechanics and then making it much more difficult for us to overcome the problems that we created. And this is what I want to tell you guys. This is my only way to explain to you, by showing the bad deeds that we do in our treatments, the bad mistakes that we make in our treatments usually, and how to solve them, or better than that, how to avoid them. And when we have the problems, how to overcome them. Because by knowing this, we are going to shorten treatment time dramatically, for sure, 100% sure. I'm going to show to you why. Look at this case here. So this is the patient, another patient treated the same way. Vertically, class 3, vertically. No sagittal movement of the maxilla, growing patient. What happened? We did the face mask, but what really happened is extrusion of upper teeth and clockwise rotation of the mandible. This is expected this way. We're treating our patients this way for a long time now. By doing that, we are increasing the lower anterior face height and decreasing the need of sagittal problems. We did that, we do that for a long time. We are doing this for a long time now. Maybe we forgot that. Because of fancy devices, we forgot that we have the proper way to do. And we are doing using just the device mind. I have a new device. The newest device can do that better. The newest protocol can do that better. And we forgot the old ones. This is wrong, because there is gold there. Old, but gold. Let's move on. And in her case, doing the protocol that I use, using the template that I have in my courses, you can use your template, but you need to use something. You can tell me, oh, Prof, your template, maybe for me it's too difficult. It is not. It is not. It's very simple, actually. We have a summary of good measurements, of good visualization that will help. I use that in 100% of my cases. You can say that. I understand. I completely agree that it's not the simplest way to do. But the simplest way to do is what? Just look at the case and say, I'm doing this. Is this fair with your patients? Is this what they expect of you? No, they want better. They want to treat you to treat them better. You can use your template, but use something. Use something. This is my template, the way I treat. Actually, it's not just mine, because all those measurements I took from someone, from some articles, from some books, textbooks, and just put in a way that I can understand better the face and better the problem. So this is a problem that I'm seeing, lower anterior face height decrease, no exposure, almost no exposure during smile, and negative exposure during speech. Can you see people talking like that, like teethless, like they were teethless, because of the lower anterior face height? We can do that. We do that very frequently. We did that very frequently in the past without even knowing, and that helped a lot many people. And now we're going back. We're going backwards in this stair of knowledge. Why? Because we gave up of the fundamentals to embrace the devices. This is the wrong way to treat. Wrong way to treat. Believe that. Believe me. Well, we can do that now, yes, if they are like attached to the case. Well, can you put it here?
Yeah, first it's comments.
Okay, my brain is like a chess. I love it. What's the name of this person? Thank you very much for that. My brain was like that for a long time. Dr. Riva, thank you for this comment. My brain is like that all the time, and was like, what can I do? What can I do for like approaching the right way this case, for avoiding the problems? But look, Dr. Riva, do you see this way? We forget to see this by understanding that the companies, they are the magic part of our treatment, and they are not. The companies, they can be our allies, but they can't be our masters. We are orthodontists. We are the masters of biomechanics. We are the masters of our own cases. Please don't let them do that. But for that, you need to make your brain a chess game. Thank you. Thank you so much. You give me new idea. Very good. So also do that for me. If you have a new idea, or if some way I helped you to do your cases better, or if you have a different approach to teach me, please do that. Please do that. Like I'm trying to do here, okay? Okay. We need more questions. We need more likes. Please give me a like. Give me a like. Just press the like here so the YouTube can send this to more people, okay? And more people can be like more like in a chess game, huh? Give us more ideas, and we can do greater community together. We can bring this to a greater orthodontic community together. So please give me a like. Just press the like button, the heart. So the YouTube will understand this is a good content and it will give to more people, okay? Let's move on. So this is our case, and the patient showed me almost none the upper incisor tips, almost nothing of the upper incisor tips. I have a good buccal corridor fill. And going to the profile, we saw the profile before. We have lower anterior face height decrease, hypodivergent pattern, the counterclockwise rotation of the mandible, and everything together is giving me this new idea. What can I do to help her? Okay, that's concave profile. The concave profile here, 182 degrees. We have maxillary deficiency. We have this nasolabial angle very acute. Why? Not because of the maxillary protrusion. You know, this is because of the compensation of upper incisors, giving more inclination of them, giving them more inclination, and this is going to affect the nasolabial angle this way. It's not good. We have the lower anterior face height decrease when we compare with the total anterior face height. We have the upper lip short in relation to the lower lip. The red dotted line here is the ideal position of upper lip to make it equivalent, proportional with the lower lip, which is twice the size of the upper lip, in a good profile, in a good face. We have the mandible rotated up and forward, showing this prognatic profile, but not really prognatic. Actually, because of the lower anterior face height, she seems to be more prognatic. And we have all those measurements giving to me certainty that the lower anterior face height is really her problem, not the prognatic profile. Meaning, if it's not the prognatic profile, I need to address the lower anterior face height, not the sagittal problem. Okay? If she had good lower anterior face height, this would be treated differently. This would have been treated differently. But in this case, because of the diagnosis, I will treat her with some specific measurements, mechanics, that will help the lower anterior face height go back where it needed to be. Okay? And how to do that? This is still the diagnosis. Very steep angle of the incisors, lower incisors with a compensatory inclination. And this is the measurement from McNamara showing me that because of the lower anterior face height decrease, she's more prognatic. The problem is not really the size. And here we have the STLs, so we can see more clear how we have this huge inclination. There was a guy in our groups, I think it was a guy or a girl, in my group, my WhatsApp group, together with my students, one case like this. And I just opened the group yesterday, there was a question with a case exactly like this. Can you believe it? Exactly like this. And another coincidence. This morning, I was in my office treating a case that I started 2 weeks ago. And I asked for bite razors. And in this case, I'm going to show to you how I do that every day. And the case, how we treat cases like that. And coincidentally, yesterday, another good orthodontist from Romania, Daniel is like a master of orthodontics, master, top notch, you know. And he showed a case treated with one of my loops, and I'm going to show to you in a few slides ahead how he treated his patient after this. He came here to Brazil, he did my courses, and he thanked me, and I thanked him for showing this to me. Because not about me. I've been doing that for a long time. What drives me is to see that been made by students, the way I do. Not just by students, by every orthodontist that want to do that, okay? So let's move on. This is the case with the type of template that I use. Now also the microanalysis of the smile, size and proportion. So we have some things to change, but we are going to do that at the end of the treatment, not now. And we are going to use, yes, we are going to need IZCs in lower, but for that I will apply a different line of action, okay? A different line of action of the force. Not that line of action that will compromise my treatment, but a line of action that will help me to do what I want. Let's move on. So I will do this way. First day, day one, see? Bonded the bracts, thin arch wire, cantilevers in the upper. So we have this cantilever activated to extrude anterior teeth. We don't need more than 68 grams per side to do that, to extrude anterior teeth in a very slow manner and secure manner, safe manner, okay? Safe manner. And we are aiding it with elastics. Let me show to you. Pay attention. Pay attention to that image. Look at that. No, please put it again in the big screen so they can see it again. Look at that. Just put the big screen, Shandy. That's it. Look, 1 month later, what's going on? You see? Close the bite. What can I do now? Again, new bite razor, filling the gap, increasing the bite razor. 1 month later, again. What do? Another bite razor and extruding again. So what we are doing here, guys, is the protocol. Is that protocol that I showed to you. You see what's going on now. I have now more freedom to correct the inclination of upper teeth. Let me ask you something now, because you're an orthodontist, you're going to, at some point, stumble upon something like that. You have this inclination. And in the group yesterday, I have the group here, someone told, maybe with extraction, maybe with using the buccal shelf and distalizing. No one asked about the lower anterior face height. And this is something that we must put in our minds. Sagittal is much, much easier to address when we address, before that, the vertical, okay? And by doing that, we need less sagittal movements. We can help ourselves to do treatments faster, much, much, much faster, okay? So we are doing that. Now we look at this here. Cut the wire distal to the premolar, same protocols. Now we have the posterior vertical elastics, and at some point we needed to distalize a little bit lower. Why do I want to do that? Because I want to increase the visual display of upper anterior teeth in a more uprighted position. You know, when we have this, let me take my phone. You're seeing my phone completely here, okay? When I do this type of, the same phone you're seeing here, when I do this inclination, you see that the height's completely different, huh? Because the parallax effect. What I'm doing is this is the compensation. I can't finish my case this way. I need this. So after distalizing, after rotating, after reaching the limit for her face, I needed more distalization of lower, so I could show this incisor, not this incisor, okay? How can I do that? Now I will use the IZC. Look at the line of action of the force below the center of resistance of the dentition, the lower entire dentition. What I'm doing here is really trying to extrude posterior further because the line of action is rotating this way. And here, I will grind the wire so I can let a little bit of loss of inclination of incisors. So you see how can we treat orthodontically if we really understand what we want, and if we really understand the basics of biomechanics, we can play in our favor, not against ourselves. Not against ourselves. So should we never do class 3 camouflage using buccal shelf? No, here is buccal shelf. But yeah, you are going to use the line of action of the force that you need for that, okay? Do you mean what? What if the patient has minus 4 millimeters reverse overjet and hyperdivergent pattern? Who doesn't want surgery? Look, I understand what you're saying. Let me put in my own words. You have a patient that is already hyperdivergent, okay? And you have this anterior cross bite, minus 4, as you're proposing here. Guys, we are not magicians. We can't do that without surgery. If you do that without surgery, you need to increase further the lower anterior face height. What if we decrease? You are increasing the projection of the chin. Do you want that? So you need to play with that. You need to understand the diagnosis. From the diagnosis, you have limits. I'm not saying that we can do that in all cases. I'm just showing to you one condition that is pretty common in our practice, and I'm showing to you the way to treat that condition. I'm not saying I'm going to treat all cases this way. I have several cases, just saw a case, class 3 surgical case, because of TMJ problems. So we have limits. The thing you're asking me, the situation you're proposing here is a limitation. There are limitations for doing this type of mechanics. So thank you for the question. This made me just tell this. Not for all cases. Everything is based on solid diagnosis and treatment planning, and from that point on, you're applying the biomechanics. I'm not saying that you can do that in all cases. When we can do that, when we can increase, look at that, I already have a gap here. So I don't need to bone the second molar. I want the first molar to go up. The way to do that is by applying the line of action of the force below the center of resistance of those teeth, so we can have the rotation in this view here is going to be clockwise. The rotation in this view here, look at that, is going to be counterclockwise, up with the first molar. You see, this is what we see in biomechanics. If you applied the buccal shelf with a high line of action of the force, because I'm not saying that you will never use buccal shelf. I'm saying that the buccal shelf is very good, but by applying the buccal shelf, you need to address the right biomechanics for that. Which other additional way to use, apart from that, bite ramp to that surgery to non-surgical mode? Oh, the only way you have to do that, really, without decreasing the lower anterior face height, is by using elastics and letting the elastic from the beginning to really extrude upper posterior teeth. This is going to rotate the mandible down and backwards. You have something that's not that good in some cases, which is the rotation of the occlusal plane. If your patient already have this occlusal plane, very horizontal, flat, this may not be a good approach. Not good approach. But if you can let the rotation of the plane this way a little bit, this is a good approach. You see how there's no one pill fits all in orthodontics? It's not that way. It's not that way. The way to understand orthodontics is by understanding the diagnosis. And then you apply the correct biomechanics. What I'm proposing here, what am I proposing here to all of you today? And all these days, and all this my entire life, and my interactions with the students, I'm proposing that we are just human. We need to be more precise because we are flawed. We make flaws every day. And if we don't study biomechanics, the flaws are going to be bigger. The problems are going to be bigger. The treatments are going to be tougher for us to understand. So I'm proposing to you to teach to you the way I do, because I did my own mistakes and I do that every day. But from those mistakes I learned and I developed a new way to treat, and it's working, not just for me. This is a good way, eh? Not just for me, but for everyone that is applying this type of protocol. So I did that. Look at this, beautiful, this beautiful gap. Take a look at this gap. The beautiful gap that we have here between upper and lower. Remember the position, the previous position? The previous position here was what? Edge to edge. What happened here? Rotation of the mandible down and backwards. And now we're finishing the treatment this way. And step by step, distalizing the lower artery, low line of action of the force, below the center of resistance, until we reach this condition. Now, if I had a different hook, if I could apply a lower hook, I could have done that, because this is what we need. We need to extrude posterior teeth. And I'm sorry for having this patch here, because this is my new patent, and I promise to show to you very soon, but not now, okay? Dr. Chris Chang is treating pure surgical case using buccal shelves. Your view on that? Well, not just him, but Chris Chang is a very good orthodontist, very skilled orthodontist, beautiful, beautiful cases. What I'm saying is, try to see by yourself. What do you think about that? Are you seeing the post-treatment cephalometric x-rays? Are you seeing the CBCTs post-treatment when we do this type of pure retraction? I'm not saying when we do that with the vertical. I'm saying pure retractions. Pure retractions are dangerous, very dangerous, okay? Okay, what is the arch wire used with cantilever, and what is the force of the elastics? Also, how do you ensure compliance of my patients wearing elastics? Let me address this part by part. The arch wire, I start with the thinner ones, because if I have a thick arch wire, I will not use a cantilever with the straight wire mechanics attaching all brackets and tubes together. I need to cut, okay? So I start with thin arch wires. There's an article for that. If you want to ask me, please you can do that in my social media account. The other question was the force of the elastics. I usually use around 200 to 150 grams per side for that type of mechanics. How can I do that? By using dynamometers to measure the force. And the third one, I don't remember. I need to see again. What was the third question about it? Do you remember the third question of that question?
Yeah.
I'll try to. Oh, the compliance, patient compliance, yes. How can I, what I can say to you is that when we talk with our patients, we explain them what you expect to happen, in how long do you expect that to happen. If you're not really achieving that, what we can say to our patient is, you're not helping me. And I need to charge you. Every time you come here, we're not having what we want because you're not wearing elastics. I have other options. Do you want to go to other options? The other options are more TEDs, more extra or auxiliary mechanics like cantilevers. We can always do that. We can always do that. But we start with the simplest mechanics, which is really wearing appliance if they can. If they cannot, we are going further in our choices. Instead of cantilever, can we use power chain to retract the upper anteriors? But look at that. You don't want to retract upper. We want to do the vertical displacement of upper. You have a class 3. You don't want to distalize upper. You want to rotate the mandible down and backwards and extrude the upper dentition, giving to the anterior teeth the right inclination during extrusion because of the line of action of the force. It's completely different. Don't do that. It's a class 3, not a class 2. How we decide the height of the hook in the mandible when it should be below the center of resistance? Confuse Could you repeat one more, please? Thank you. Yes, I can. Look at that. Let's say you're distalizing the mandible, and you want to extrude posterior teeth, which is what this case here. If you apply the high line of action of the force, meaning you insert the buccal shelf and, let's say, power chain. You stretch a power chain between the buccal shelf and the wire, the low hook, the short hook. The line of action of the force is going to do this. Intrude posterior and extrude anterior. Remember, we don't want that. What do we want now is to extrude posterior teeth and intrude anterior to rotate the occlusal plane, giving more room to upper teeth extrude. So in this situation, the hook is below, the hook is a high hook, and the line of action of the first must be below the center of resistance, okay? So let's move on. This is our patient before, this is our patient after. Look at this, meaning this is the end of the treatment, but look how different she looks like. This is a class 3 stamped in her face. Class 3. This is a class 1. Let's go again to the lower anterior face height and the proportion. We are giving to the upper lip more length. We are elongating the upper lip. Before, and we have it during the treatment with extrusion in the final steps of the treatment. And now we're going to give more torque and a little bit of retraction in this case. Okay, why didn't you give him time to relapse? Isn't it, okay, isn't it with time will make resorption on roots or bone? I quite don't understand fully your question. Why didn't you give time to relapse? Isn't it time with time will make resorption on roots or bone? Why would we have resorption in this case? First of all, the movement is vertical, is the least attached to root resorption and also bone resorption. I don't quite understand. If you can explain better, please. Do you only insert IZC after a tomography? Good question, good question. Almost always. Almost always. Why? Because it's safer. Because it's safer. I have a class on that. If you are not doing that, you are trying to do by chance the right position, and I don't believe in chance in this case if we have the opportunity to go more precisely to the spot. What gauge is the master arch when you extrude with cantilever? I already answered that before. I start with thin arch wires, okay? By using the biturbo, we can increase the height. This is what we, biturbo anterior segment. I don't really like to do that a lot, you know. I did that in the past a lot, but I had some bad outcomes, bad situations coming from that I try to avoid. First of all, if your patient has some signs and symptoms of TMJ problems, issues, this can trap the TMJ, creating a fulcrum that will compress further the TMJ. I really don't like that, okay? I really don't like it. So yes, you can, but I really don't like to do this way. Moving on, so we have the difference between before and after. We see how the upper arch extruded. We see now the difference during the treatment and how it's going to, it's increasing step by step during the treatment, step by step. I mean, I'm very late in my class today. I think I was very excited about explaining to you that I really lost my sense of time here. I'm sorry. We have now, you see the difference. This is a surgical difference without surgery by rotating the mandible down and backwards. By rotating her mandible down and backwards, we can achieve this type of outcome. Stretching the mandible, stretching upper lip, we have, look at the difference. It's not finished yet, but almost there. But look at the difference of the point between the upper lip and the line. So we are really doing something good for this patient profile. And then we compare, look at that, the extrusion of upper teeth, the extrusion of lower teeth, and the rotation of the mandible down and backwards. And this is what I want you to think about. Never intrude posterior teeth in class 3 progenetic profiles. This is a case I was treating today. I did a video for that, but I didn't really have had time to edit it. I did a video how to do this, and I promise to show this video for you tomorrow, because it's very interesting, the same thing we are doing now, I'm doing with this patient. And in this case here, I'm not running the sequence of, we don't have time for that, but what I want to do is the same thing. You see? Look at that. What we want to do, this patient came seeking treatment, and she told me, I sought this treatment for a long time, and everyone that I went, every orthodontist told me that my case is surgical, but I don't want to go through surgery. Can you help me? Yes, I do. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. You know what? I know how to do that by now. Lower anterior face height decreased. What we need, guys, is this. And in this case, I sent to my colleague, and she made to me provisional crowns, higher provisional crowns. Look at that. Look at the contact between the second molar. Can you see here? Let me just put in detail. Okay, okay, more and more. Look at that. Yeah, magnifying lenses now. And after that, you see? And in the other side. Before and day one. Pay attention to that point, specific point here, close to me. We ask for higher provisional crowns, and now is a functional provisional crown. And look what we're doing now. We're just doing that. This is today. I did this today. I was making a video for you to understand that, but look at the rotation of the mandible. Now we have a very simple case to be treated. And I was trying to explain in this video here. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough time to edit the video, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. Look at this. Look at that. This is from Daniel, this guy here. Good orthodontist from Romania, Daniel Olteanu. It's a very good, he's a very good orthodontist. And he was showing this case yesterday in his social media. And where this type of loop that I'm going to teach you tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to have this loop here, another loop, so you can understand how easy it can be, how simple it can be, okay? And take a look at that. Please put in, yes. Look at this, is treating a class 3 with a mini implant and using the loop for pushing it forward. You see, that's very difficult to do that with other strategies. You don't have elastics for that, like intra-arch elastics, but you can do that using this type of a loop, okay? Here, Daniel, what he said, of course, please. I asked him to show his case today, and he told me, yes, I can do that. You can do that, my friend. We are friends. Thank you very much. You have opened my eyes for new possibilities for my patients. This is what I'm trying to do. It's very beautiful when we see something like that. You being able to help people from other parts of the world. And there are other possibilities? Yes, there are. We can retract? Yes, we can. We can use, for example, loops for that if we understand what we want, if we apply the right moment of the force, and the counter moment to counteract the moment that you don't want. Oh, I know, chess game, but I'm going to explain that to you. We can do that using this type of mechanics. If we have, for example, here, I have one tooth missing, and I want to replace that tooth. I can do by several ways. One way that I usually like to do is by using the blue sky plan for giving a guide, for creating a guide, printed guide for the implantologist. in taking into consideration the final position of my orthodontic treatment, the final position of the teeth in my orthodontic treatment. And I know what I want. I want 4 millimeters distalization, so it's much simpler. I know biomechanics, I know occlusion, I know diagnosis, and then I can create the right mechanics for that. I used, in this case, a regular implant. I just asked my colleague, the implantologist, to put the implant, to insert the implant in the right position with a provisional crown, and from that point, I applied the loop. So this is a retraction loop. So we have several possibilities, really several possibilities to treat class 3 cases. Tomorrow, I'm going to show to you these loops, and tomorrow also, I'm going to show to you class 2 loops for treating this way, okay? So don't miss out. Guys, I'm sorry if I was very excited about the class today, so I took longer than I anticipated. And what I want you to understand is that if you can understand the biomechanics involved in each case and know how to manage the best protocols and techniques, you will feel more confident in your clinical practice. I am sure about that. You saw what Daniel said. Open your eyes to more possibilities to treat your cases faster with the knowledge of what we need to do and what we must do to anticipate problems and to generate the right biomechanics so we can avoid this wrong path, crooked path between 2 points. We need to go from this point to this point straight ahead, not this way, okay? And this is how we apply biomechanics. And moving on, confidence is the key to assessing what I call the orthodontist flow of success. What is a flow of success? It's like a cycle. It's like a cycle. You do things better. You are recognized as a good orthodontist because you're doing things better. Your treatments are faster. And people see that. And they try to be with you because you are the man, you are the woman, you are the orthodontist that is really doing the right thing. And this is what we call the flow of success. This is a feeding process. You do better, you recognize, you earn more money for that, you're going to do much more faster treatments, you have more time to study, because if you're doing that in your practice, like this way, I need to do many treatments, I need to treat many cases every day, otherwise this is going to be bad, economically bad for me, you don't have even time to study. So you need to earn more money per patient. This is the right way to do that. And when I say that, I'm not saying that you must be greedy. Nothing related to that. Nothing related to that. I want to give to you the peace of mind for doing that the right way, having the right money for that, and then working less. This is the right and proper way to do that. Why I do that? Why I'm doing this way nowadays? Because I really needed to study. I really needed to understand the chess game so I could understand all the pieces in the chess game, and that I could manage them better by knowing that by moving one of them, I would have that outcome, and by having that outcome, I will do that. So this is like that. And things are faster, not just for me, but for many students of ours. So a career moment where everything contributes to your growth. So you have security, you don't turn away patients because of insecurity, you demonstrate security by that, demonstrating security during consultations and converting more treatments, delivering high quality treatments. That's all we want, that's all we need. We have customers or our patient satisfaction, so promoted clients as referrals, so they are now referring more patients. I have in my office, let me give you my numbers. In my office, approximately 90% of my patients come from other orthodontic or other dentist referrals and other patients. So previous patients. Why? Because they trust my treatments. Take a look if it's happening in your case. If not, think about it. You must be more precise. You must be more precise, okay? So then your recognition and the marketing prominence is what you're going to achieve in this cycle that gives more security. You need to work less. This is right. I don't even like to talk about money. People always ask me, Prof, by doing that, how can I raise my salary? How can I increase the amount of money that I have for each patient if I'm working a lot? You're doing the wrong way. You're working a lot because you don't have enough knowledge. If you have enough knowledge, you're working less because you're going to have more money for each patient. So the right way to do that is not working, and at some point I'm going to have time to have a course. No, it's not happening. I see that a lot here in Brazil. Not happening. This is a bad cycle. Insecurity, less patients, you do a treatment in 4 years, you're having less patients because your patient that is treated for 4 or 5 years, they're not referring you to anyone else. So you see, you need to break that cycle. You need to understand better biomechanics. That's my claim, just that, okay? Some people are asking me about the course, but I think it's not just time to think about the course, because I prepared these classes with so huge passion, that I want you to understand the course, these classes. I was picking the cases that I have every day in my practice from good orthodontists. They're asking me something, Prof, how can I do that? And I saw the problem. I want to, in this class, deliver that to you. The problems are here. You can treat this way, if you understand this way. I have a course here, the Accessible and Practical Biomechanics. This is the name of the course. In this course, I will really go deeper in this knowledge. I just ask that you follow this event and take advantage of it. We were talking about it before. So we must give. And you go to my pages. And you go to YouTube, Instagram, what do you see there? You see there, content, pure content from my heart. Pure content I'm giving to you. Every day, every single day. Why did I do the courses? Why? Because people asked me, Prof, can you just make a course out of this and this? And I made the courses because of those questions, because of those doubts. And because of those doubts, I'm confident that the course is very good for those people that are there, especially the discussions in our groups. They are pure gold. They are pure gold. Let's move on. Before the giveaway, check the event schedule. So tomorrow, July 4th. Yeah, today 3rd. Yes, there's a broadcast, live broadcast of Class 3. From theory to practice, where I'm giving you the hands-on of those loops that I use and other strategies. Yes, I need to read to you this. Each. Okay. Okay, so on July 4th, we have this. The next step to become a high-level orthodontics. One close experience on Q&A on Zoom. This is on July 7th, the last appointment that we have with me, okay? The last day you have with me. And again, let me ask you something again. Please do that for me. I'm doing that freely for you. Give me thumbs up and send this to someone, because this is the way YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, they understand that this content is relevant for people like you. So this is just what I asked you today, okay? And what else? Next, let's move to the giveaway. As I said, we will have a giveaway for one-to-one mentoring session for those who have issued a VIP ticket. The winner will be able to ask questions and share experience with me on a Zoom meeting for 1 hour, okay? 1 hour, and I will have the opportunity to see you, okay? To see you face to face. Okay, now I need to read that. You see, people ask me, I do everything that I'm told. Each participant in the giveaway has been assigned a number. My team here, all those people here, will conduct the drawing in the app. They're going to do that now. The winner has 10 minutes to send me a message on Instagram saying that they are there with the hashtag #Iam5%. So after the giveaway, after the drawing, the winner has 10 minutes to send a message so I can see if you are there now. Because I need you to be there. Okay? Give me a message and a hashtag #Iam5%. Otherwise, we will draw again until we find a winner. A winner, not a Q&A now. Huh? Or we are going to do the drawing?
It's okay. Here we have the screen of the drawing, so we will make this now.
So my team is telling me that they have the screen with the drawing now. And do the audience can see that? Oh, they see this screen. Okay, so this is the screen.
148.
The number is 148.
So
Let's check the list here so we can have the name of the winner. Yeah. I like it. The winner is who is? Gary Huang Hong. Gary Huang Hong is the name of the winner. Please take a screenshot and put in a large so they can see. So we have Gary. You have 10 minutes if you want to do this, and if you are there, you have 10 minutes so we can see if you're really there and you can follow the rules that we have. Now we have the Q&A. Okay. How many months took to finish treatment of this case, Prof? Which case? I don't. Which case? Maybe the.
Yes, the case of the class.
The first,
one.
the second one.
Yeah.
What the second? Well, the second one. The problem is that we had a problem. Like she needed to not. We are under treatment for probably 14 months or something now, but she's not really coming to the office very frequently because she travels a lot, and I expect to finish her treatment this month if she comes. I promised that to her, so probably something around 15 months. My team is working the questions now. Patient with, okay, come. Patient with class 2 and crowding in the upper arch. Deep bite. When is the best time to remove the upper force and correct the deep bite? Hi, Prof. Can we, it's another one, huh? One question. This is the first part of,
Yeah.
also one question total.
Yeah.
This is, okay.
One single question here.
Okay, so deep bite, don't erase it, please. Yeah. Deep bite, crowding. We do the correction of the crowding by extraction. That's it, we are following now. So we have the deep bite. Let's say this patient is class 2 div 1. Deep bite, and we need to retract. We can do this together. We can use in the lower arch the cantilever to correct the deep bite, because usually class 2 cases, they have the deep bite because of a very deep curve of SPI. So we can use the cantilever if we can protract. If we can't, we use the cantilever and can do the extraction or IPRs. And at the same time, we can do the extraction of premolar and retraction of the canine. Why we can do that together? Because we are using bite razors just, in this case, bite razors just for allowing to bond the lower incisors, and you correct the curve of SPI. Then you remove the bite razors. So you can do that together. For extracting premolars, you need to do the retraction of the canine right away, same moment. So we can take advantage of what we call the rapid acceleratory phenomenon that will increase the speed of the movement of the canine. So you do that, just the enough space, you do the retraction. In my cases, of course, there are other strategies and other thinkings in orthodontics. But I do the retraction, the canine. If I have 4 millimeters of crowding, 2 millimeters if we have centered midlines, and that's it. And then I align a level very fast as I can, so I can retract in a second round the upper anterior teeth if it is needed. So the answer is we can do that with this protocol together. That's why we fasten up mechanics. When is the best time? Patient with class 2 and crowded in the upper artery. Okay. Now you can just erase it, delete it. Patient with class 2 and crowded in the upper arch. This is the same. Okay. Hi, Prof. Can we? Hi. Hi. I need to say hi and to smile because there was another day, you know, guys, that someone told me, Prof, why do you smile all the time in your classes? Well, because I'm happy. Because I'm happy. And smile is good, huh? So, Prof, hi. Can we use IZC screw and class 3 elastic to rotate the mandible backwards? IZC, okay, and class 3 elastic instead of buccal shelf and screw. I understand what you're saying. Let's think this way. If you need to use the elastics, class 3 elastics, one thing that you need to understand is by doing that, you are extruding lower anterior teeth. You're not extruding upper because you're using directly to the IZCs. But the lower, with this type of inclination, of angulation, let's say, of the elastic, the vertical components is really very high. Can you afford the rotation of the lower occlusal plane? Think about it. If you can, good. I would use more commonly as a strategy directly from the molar to the lower part of the arch, the anterior part of the lower arch, I'm sorry. And by doing that, I will allow the extrusion of upper teeth when I can afford the extrusion of upper teeth and rotation of the mandible down and backwards. And I will always say the same thing. Unfortunately, there's no one recipe for all. We must adapt, okay? How to correct mild to moderate, yes, delete it. How to correct mild to moderate class 3 with high angle growth with orthodontic treatment only. Well, mild, okay, sometimes our soft tissue mentioned before, but for high angle, sometimes it's too much. It is too much. Remember what I said? Limits. We have limits. And by understanding those limits, we are doing the right treatment. By understanding those limits, saying no sometimes is the best option. Okay? High angle is really difficult without surgery. Okay? When removing the bite razors, do you remove it in bulk or in increments? Usually increments. Well, I will remove up to 1 millimeter, wait. Again, and wait. Why is that? There's no reason. This is something that I'm adapted to do in this way. But maybe you can do that in one turn, okay? I'm doing that because I think it's, for me, I will look at the movement, take a look at, is it right, really what I want? The speed of the movement is good or not? So I think it's more controllable. But if the patient, this must be half. Okay, but if the patient deep bite and we remove premolars, we don't remove the deep bite? Of course we do. I'm not saying that you need to remove premolars in class 3 cases. I didn't say that. I actually said the opposite. I prefer to use that without. And the class 2 case, if you're asking about the class 2 case, you need to do the retraction. The deep bite is because of what? Probably because of the curve of speed. You can have deep bite in high angle. You usually have deep bite in high angle. It doesn't mean, if you're referring to the class 2, the question about the class 2 patient, it doesn't mean that the patient is hypodivergent because of the overbite. Actually, patients with hyperdivergent profiles, they contact very frequently the papilla in the palatal side because of the deep overbite caused by the deep curve of SPI. So you need to extract posterior to retract and correct the class 2. There are other strategies. Of course there are. Remember the last class, I showed you 7. Go there again to watch the class. I showed you 7 possibilities of treating one specific condition, a class 2 DIV1 with high exposure, big exposure of gingiva during a smile, gingival display during smile, and I needed to do that by intruding upper. So you see, we have several possibilities. We can do extraction, not good because we're not really treating the impaction of posterior teeth. I can do that using TEDs. Tomorrow we're going to see that, and I'm going to show to you the loops that I use for that, okay? So this is not that simple, I'm so sorry. Patient with flared lower anterior because I use reverse arch to intrude them, but I got the flare. Now what should I do? What should I do? Okay, well you remember what I said? If you're doing this, the flattening of the curve, and the flattening of the curve, for each millimeter that you flatten the curve, that you align posterior and anterior with the medium of the arch, meaning flattening the curve, for each millimeter of correction, you need up to 1 millimeter of space within the arch. And when we don't have diastemas, the easiest way for the arch to solve this problem is by flaring anterior teeth. I'm not saying that you must do that. I'm just saying that if in this condition you're doing that, and by doing that you have flared incisor, and you're flaring them further, you need to avoid to do that without extractions or IPR. And if you want to do the leveling of the curve without inclination flaring, but just intrusion, you can do that using a 3-piece arch technique or this type of method with the line of action of the force below the center of resistance of 6 anterior teeth, and you have 2 distinct steps between posterior and anterior. So there are several possibilities, but again, I'm not saying that you need to do that. I'm saying that when you can, you must approach this way. Did you find the guy from the giveaway?
Yeah.
Is there? Oh, send a message. He sent a message.
No. We can
Do another one? Do you have 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Patient with flared lower anterior because I use, okay, so this is the last one. Guys, let me just thank you for being with me for so long. I know that's for some of you, it must be very, very late now because of the time zone, and I thank you for that. And after this, we're going to make this class available in YouTube, okay? Again, send this link for your friends, send this link direct to your friends, ask people to come and watch the class. And we're going to have another class tomorrow, in which I'm going to show to you class 2 cases and the way I use this type of loops and the way I fabricate this type of loops, okay? So what we do now?
Yeah, the new winner.
Okay, now we have another winner because the previous one was not here. There's this Shivam Verma. If you are there, please give me a sign. If you are there, give me a sign and go to my Instagram and call me so we can set our meeting, okay? Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your patience, for your questions. I really appreciate all of you being together with us for so long. and many followers for some years following me in all classes. This is so beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you for the questions again, and see you tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye, guys.